the Republic of Cyprus was doomed from the get-go because we've got Macarios. He never ever wanted a republic that was joint community. He's Turkish. He never wanted it, even before he signed it.
Even if, like, let's say, for example, you're a Greek Cypriot and you oppose the two-state solution and you would settle for a federation. But a federation is only contingent in our eyes upon guaranteeing security for the Turkish Cypriots. And there's no way, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that would entrust our safety and security to any other nation or state outside of Turkey. There's no way.
Yeah. Whenever there is division, whenever there is war, why is the USA and the UK always fucking involved? And they always seem to be there. Yeah.
The far-right fascists were basically going into Greek homes, giving them weapons and saying, if you do not go and murk your Turkish neighbor, we're gonna kill you and your family.
Yeah, okay. Turkish Cypriots in the Cyprus issue, I think they were the most innocent out of all parties involved. You know, there was a lot of parties involved, and I believe the Turkish Cypriots done absolutely nothing wrong at all. Right, what is happening, my peeps? We're here today with a guest named Şahin. What are you saying, brother?
Let's give it, brother.
Good day.
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now, this is going to be a very, very special and very close to my heart episode today. We're going to be talking about the Cyprus issue. It's a very highly emotive topic for Cypriots, especially Cypriots. But we are going to do our absolute best to try and avoid talking about the emotional aspects of the Cyprus issue. We're going to try and stick to the facts. Now, the aim of this podcast is, like I said, to talk about the facts, to basically inform all generations, not only the younger generations, of the facts. Because a lot of the younger generation today, they're not aware of the facts, or they've only been taught maybe a small portion of the facts. We're going to discuss that today. So, Şahin, brother.
Yes, brother.
But can I just, before, like, you know, you're talking about the facts.
Yeah.
So you're talking about facts from which side, and you're going to be talking about facts from which side? Do you know?
Yeah,
You know,
so
are you
that's a
against
very
each
good
other?
point.
Are you for each other?
No,
Like,
that's a very good point. So, Şahin is a Turkish Cypriot, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah. I am a mix. I'm both Turkish and Greek Cypriot. Now, this is going to be the first episode of a two-series episode, basically. So we're going to do one today with Şahin, and then there's going to be another episode later on with a Greek Cypriot person. So I want this to be, you know, as level and as fair as possible. I'll be very honest, I've been struggling to find a Greek Cypriot that wants to discuss this, and I'll explain a little bit more in detail why I feel that is. We'll get onto that soon. But yeah, just so before we start, Şahin, would you mind just telling everyone a little bit about yourself? We don't need to go into any detail, you know, who you are, what you do.
So I'm a business owner, born and raised in London. My family obviously came
North
here.
London.
Yeah,
Come on.
Edmonton,
Yes.
come on. So we all were, bro. So yeah, my family came here in the 60s, and obviously we've been here ever since.
Did they migrate from Cyprus because of the Cyprus
so
issue?
they came here actually. My great-grandfather came here in the 50s.
Okay.
And he was in the British Army, and then after World War II, this was like early 50s. They were back to Cyprus. Things started kicking off, and then they came back in, and we've been here since.
Yeah. So I guess they avoided the later issues that came after. That was the early stages of where
I think they came over in 64, if I'm not mistaken, but I think it was about 64 where they came, and then obviously from 63 to 74 was when the bulk of the trouble was.
Yeah.
And a lot more people were obviously displaced on both sides, and they started coming over in waves, I think, after 74. But there's a lot of people, other Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots like myself, that they left early. They didn't stick around to wait, you know, for eventually what happened. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Oh, Şahin from Edmonton. Come on. Yes. All right. So yeah, the reason I've invited you on obviously is because I was told by my friend over here, you can't see her in the frame at the moment, that you have a good knowledge on the recent history of Cyprus. So We're going to go on the basis of that. And I think we'll just start off with a little... Obviously, Donny has absolutely no fucking clue about...
nothing.
Absolutely perfect.
I am going to, however, interject and ask as many questions as I feel like.
Perfetto, my friend. This is exactly what we need. Somebody to just cut in and ask the questions, because there is a lot of people out there. We're going to be talking that actually have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah. And so
I'm that person.
Perfect. Yeah,
It's good, like if you play the devil's advocate, that's what you need.
If you end up fighting, it will be my
Yeah.
joking.
Right. So, I think we'll just start off with a little brief history of how we got to sort of the beginning stages of the Cyprus history. So, you mentioned you know a lot about the ancient history of Cyprus.
So
do you want to give us a little brief time? Like, we won't spend too long talking about it.
So, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
What is it that you're trying to get out of this, though? Are you trying to figure out who's owns Cyprus?
No, I said already. that the goal or the aim of this is basically to inform all generations of the facts.
To be fair, like
the facts.
it's not about who owns Cyprus. Do you know how many like different empires have conquered that?
I get that, but like, what's our objective? Is it to figure out what, like, who got done over the most, who owns the most, who's a right?
You know what? I
who's
think
entitled
that's
to
a
it?
really good question. Because I'm just gonna lay my hands down on the table, my cards, because what I want, for Cyprus, because everyone wants something different right now. Now, me,
He's gonna get triggered.
No, he won't get triggered. But I'm almost certain what he wants for Cyprus is probably something different than what I want. So, what I want for Cyprus, obviously, I'm both Greek and Turkish Cypriot. What I want is probably more of a minority these days. So, I want a united federal solution to return to the Republic of Cyprus, a mixed government. That's what I want. I know most Turkish Cypriots now don't want that.
So you want united Cyprus or federal? Because they're two different
United a federal solution.
Federation.
Yeah. Okay. With both Greeks and Cypriots within the government.
I think that is I don't think you're a minority.
It is actually. I've looked. There's been a lot of surveys conducted recently. You've got the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus elections coming up. I think it's in October.
Yeah.
They've done a lot of surveys. I've looked at the results. It is a minority on both sides at the moment. It's more of a minority on the Turkish Cypriot side for obvious reasons. Yeah. On the Greek Cypriot side, I think it was something like 30% or so. I can't remember don't quote me on the figures.
Is that people only polled within Cyprus, or is that
within Cyprus? Yeah. I know. Obviously, we've got Cypriots all around the world. We've got a massive community here in London, Australia.
To be fair with you, like, if you speak to someone, and I found that this is genuinely the case, speaking to someone from Cyprus, their attitude, their knowledge, and generally what they want for Cyprus is usually completely different to those that live in the diaspora. So, for example, I feel like those people that came over to they went over to the UK, they went to Australia, they went to the US, France, they spread around the world. Now, I can only talk in our experience in the UK. The Greeks and Turks that came here, I feel like they brought the culture with them. They got on, they were neighborly, they're best friends, they married each other. And that's, I feel, remains today. Yeah. Whereas when you go over to Cyprus and you have 51 years of division, one side doesn't know the other. They don't, they only opened the borders not long, in the context of history, not long ago. So their only perception or understanding of the other side is whatever they were told. Yeah. You understand? Whereas here, we didn't have that. Yeah. We were able to mix with one another, we went to school with one another, work with one another, went to business with one another. So I find that the attitudes of the people here are very different to that of...
100% agree with you on that. 100% agree with you on that. But it also, I think it's worth noting as well, Turkish Cypriots... Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this. Turkish Cypriots in the Cyprus issue, I think they were the most innocent out of all parties involved. Mm. There was a lot of parties involved, and I believe the Turkish Cypriots done absolutely nothing wrong at all. Mm. And so for them today, most Turkish Cypriots living in Cyprus, they don't want a federal or united solution. They want a two-state. They want a two-state solution, and I genuinely don't blame them for wanting that. I honestly don't blame them.
See, this is where it gets tricky. So even if you don't even if, like, let's say, for example, you're a Greek Cypriot and you oppose the two-state solution and you would settle for a federation. But a federation is only contingent in our eyes upon guaranteeing security for the Turkish Cypriots. And there's no way, there's not a snowball's chance in hell that would entrust our safety and security to any other nation or state outside of Turkey. There's no way.
Yeah.
And I think the overwhelming majority, you're going to find people, and believe me, we've had plenty of conversations with Turkish Cypriots that don't even want Turkey to be there in the first place. And for me, like, I can't understand that, because for us, it's like, if it wasn't for these people,
there'd be no Turkish Cypriots alive today.
And this isn't what our grandfathers and our grandmothers told us. No. This is what was coming out of the leadership of the mouth of those people who were leading the coup and committing these atrocities.
Yeah.
And we have these statements of what they were saying and what they wanted to do to the Turkish Cypriots. So it's not like we made it up.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I mean, if it wasn't for, let's just be honest, and this is probably as close to a fact as we're going to get. If it wasn't for Turkey's intervention, there would probably be no Turkish Cypriots left. There wouldn't be any in Cyprus. That's a fact.
I absolutely believe
and
that.
they would be scattered around the world with no country to live in other than Turkey. I believe that's as close as a fact we're going to get. We'll never know. Yeah. But
well, that's just, if you're...
It's obvious.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened in the neighbouring island of Crete, didn't it? Yeah. Not long before that. So obviously, that fear within the Turkish Cypriots' minds was very strong, and it existed because it happened.
I would agree.
So there was, obviously, the Ottoman Empire existed, few hundred years before, and they had, Turkish communities living all over the place. They conquered many lands around there. One of them lands that was part of the empire was Crete. It's an island. It's a Greek island. Now, after the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, the Greeks the Cretians basically completely expelled them, massacred them, wiped them clean of the island. So what happened in Cyprus, I mean, that was probably where it was heading.
Where's Tripolista? Is that in Crete or is that in mainland Greece?
Where?
Tripolista. So there was 33,000 Muslims that were massacred. I don't know if that was in Crete though. Like that, I'd have to double check. But that could be part of the same,
Yeah, my geography on Crete isn't great. I mean, I've been there once as a younger teenager.
But then again, if you look at what happened during that period, in 1955, in Istanbul, you had the pogroms. So someone called Adnan Menderes, who was the president or prime minister of Turkey at the time, he basically started this campaign against Greeks living in Istanbul. And a lot of Greek people lost their lives. I mean, these are Greeks that have been living in Istanbul for all the way since they got there. Yeah. Do you understand? Like, their generation was thousands of years in Istanbul.
Yep.
Now, they started to, Greeks were murdered, harassed, beaten, vandalizing their businesses. And this was all perpetrated by him. Eventually, there was a military coup. And fun fact, Turkey has got the world record for the most military coups of any other country.
Really?
Yeah. And eventually they hung Adnan Menderes, maybe for different reasons, but that was one of the prices that he paid. And even one of my customers now, he's one of those people who descend from the people who were expelled from Istanbul in 1955. Nowadays, you only have maybe, I think the number's like less than 10,000. Greeks still living in Istanbul, which is a shame because those people have as much.
Yeah, Istanbul's one of them unique locations like Cyprus as well, where it's always had a very strong geographical importance for military and political organizations. It's Istanbul's always been the crossroads between Europe and Asia. Cyprus has always been like this rock on the middle of three continents. It's got massive geographical importance. So we've seen a lot of wars over the century, which brings us on, I guess, to start the ancient history of Cyprus. Do you want to do it, or shall I? You
could go. I'll follow your lead.
We won't spend too long, but like you said, I don't believe there's any, organization, political party, or nation state that has sort of a forever claim on Cyprus. They don't.
No.
Cyprus has been conquered by more than 15 different civilizations over the centuries. Venetians, Romans, Persians,
That's right.
Greek. You know, the list goes on. Byzantines.
Yeah.
And that is why Cypriots, we are. I was saying it at the start of this podcast. We're like a mongrel race. Our DNA has been shared throughout history. You know, every time a civilization comes and conquers, stays for a couple of hundred years, leaves. You know, they leave their DNA, they leave their culture, and we adopted that. Cypriots has, you know, a massive amount of culture taken from different empires along the line. So yeah, we don't have no one has a claim to Cyprus, a forever claim to it.
I feel like there's like a really nice like amalgamation of different cultures that has been left by these previous empires. Like you mentioned, the Ottomans, the Venetians, Lusignans, the Persians have been there, Greeks obviously, Byzantines have been there. So, you know, getting into this whole
I think that's
debate,
the beauty of Cyprus as well.
Of course.
Because we've adopted little bits of cultures from different empires, and that's what makes us so unique.
And I believe that, you know, people are better when they work with one another rather than separating. Do you understand? To try to prove that, my culture is superior to yours. This is, excuse my language, but this is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Everybody has something to offer.
Yeah.
You know, you have something special and unique to you. They have something special and unique to them. So what you do is you get together and you share that with one another.
Yeah.
What's the point of, do you understand? What other purpose could dividing people serve? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
So anyway, like you said, like you mentioned, this combination of different cultures left by previous empires has led to who we are today and the culture that's left on the island.
Yeah. I think, you know what, it's important to mention as well, Cypriot's DNA, there's been multiple studies done on this. Turkish Cypriot's DNA and Greek Cypriot's DNA are more closely linked than, for example, a Greek Cypriot with someone from mainland Greece.
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah.
I think, sorry, you were going to say something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little bit going back to the beginning. If you had a point to bring onto that, you should probably carry on.
No.
Okay, well, earlier on you said that the native Cypriots, they have a different opinion to everyone else that lives outside of Cyprus, right?
Yeah.
What is their opinion like? Are they on this separation thing, or do they want it together?
So Turkish Cypriots living in Cyprus right now, the vast majority of the population, I think, how many Cypriots is there? 300,000 at the moment living
in the
Cyprus?
north.
In the north. Actual Turkish Cypriots. I don't mean like expat Brits, and because there's a lot.
That's just, you know, that's the last poll that I remember. The last poll that I read was done in 2016.
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't know if it was a census or a poll, but it's around about 350,000 the last time I checked.
Yeah.
Okay. So how many of those though?
Yeah.
Are Turkish Cypriot, and how many? It's very tricky.
Yeah.
After 74, you had an influx of people coming from mainland Turkey.
Yeah.
Those people have settled in Cyprus, and they have had children.
Yeah.
So again, do you class those people as Turkish Cypriots, the ones that are children of those who came over?
That's culture, innit?
Do you understand?
It's culture at that point, innit?
Yeah.
Like, are they still a mainland Turk?
Yeah, but I think the point I'm trying to make is basically the vast majority of Turkish Cypriots living in northern Cyprus right now want a two-state solution.
Yeah, I agree.
They want, the way things are right now, the island is divided, the island is divided into 4 parts right now, but they want a northern Cyprus and a southern Cyprus. That's what Turkish Cypriots want.
So what about the Greek Cypriots? What do they want?
It's slightly different. The recent survey I saw was slightly different. There's a slightly higher percentage that wants a federal, united solution of some kind. Yeah.
What is the real big difference? Like, what? So if you're gonna have, you put everyone together, or you can put a line in between. Like, what's the problem with putting the line if one person wants the line?
There's not actually a line. Yeah. So like I just said, there's 4 elements.
2 state. Yeah.
Yeah. There's actually 4 states in Cyprus right now. People don't realize our island is just fucked.
But it's going to be 2 states. That's what I mean by the line. So
yeah, that's what people want. Yeah, they want a Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
Why don't you want that? Why can't that just be a solution? Why does it have to be a federation?
I am mixed kebab. Yeah, I am Greek Cypriot, Turkish.
Just go one side to the other.
No, but this is just something I've always. I'll tell you. You know what? It's a good question because me growing up, yeah, I have my Turkish Cypriot family. I've got my Greek Cypriot family, and growing up, every Cypriot has experienced this. They've heard shit being chatted about the Greeks or shit being chatted about the Turks. You know, I'll hear my Turkish Cypriot family or friends or whatever chatting shit about Greeks, and I'll hear my Greek Cypriot doing the same. And growing up, eventually I was just like tired of hearing all this shit all the time. So I just wanted to learn the truth for myself. You know, so I had done fucking endless amounts of research, reading shit up, reading this constitution, these articles, this or whatever, learning, you know, reading news articles from back then. And then this is where it's got me today. So obviously I'm both Greek and Turkish Cypriot. That's just what I want. I want my people to be friends and together, innit? That's just what I want. I'm very well aware that
Are you worried that there's going to be a toll in between? That's
I'm
when
not
you
worried.
go from one side to the
Let's
other.
make it so I'm not worried about Greek and Turkish Cypriots. I'm more worried about other parties, which we'll get onto soon. I'm way more worried about that.
That's happening
Yeah.
now.
So like I was saying, the island right now is in 4 pieces, yeah? So we have the northern side of the island, which is the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. We have the southern side, which is the Republic of Cyprus. Then we have the UN buffer zone, which runs right through the middle, takes up a little chunk of percentage of the island. Then we have the UK sovereign bases, which is UK sovereign territory. So if you look at it like on a map, you'll just see all these different colours and when in reality,
Be more easier.
in reality, before the Cyprus issue, it was just the Republic of Cyprus.
Yeah.
Just probably make it easier to make it the federation, like you're saying, yeah.
I wouldn't say it's easier. Jesus fucking
But I mean,
Christ.
there's 4 separate bits that put all together.
It's very tricky because, look, I think like Greek Cypriots naturally want to return to their land that they lost. They lost land, they lost property. You know, this is the
Turkish
land
Cypriots lost land and property
Yeah.
too, though.
I'm just like
Yeah.
explaining for what I think a Greek Cypriot would be thinking. For them, they see Turkey as an invading force. So they see them as outsiders that had no right to come and do what they did, which is a fair. If I was a Greek Cypriot, I'd probably think the same way, if I'm honest with you. But anyway, we'll get to that part as we get into the what happened. Now, ultimately, the reasons for wanting a federation or wanting a two-state solution or wanting reunification is going to be different depending on what side of the island that you're on. As a Turkish Cypriot, like he was pointing out, and I mentioned this earlier, I will never try to put me or my family in a situation to go through what my grandparents went through ever again. It can never be allowed to happen. Understand? And for us, in our mind, and I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'll speak for me. For me, the best way to do that, and the best way to preserve our security and to make sure that that can never happen again, is to have that deterrent, and that deterrent is Turkey. The fact that Turkey has been there for since 1974, right? Whether anybody likes it or not, has been a deterrent. There has been peace on the island for 51 years.
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yeah.
you understand? Like, so this is the way that we look at it. However, on the other side, I can completely understand why they look at it the way that they do. This foreign entity is in my homeland, occupying a chunk of my island, where my grandfather's land is, where my grandmother's house is. Do you understand? And you have strangers, foreigners, occupiers, settlers living in those houses and living on that land. Like, you can, I see it from both sides.
Yeah.
But ultimately, somebody's life has to come before land and property. Simple as that.
I think you raised a very important point there, because I'll put my cards on the table again. I personally don't want any outside forces on the island. Turkey, Britain, USA, Israel fucking coming in now. I don't want any of them on the island. But it's a very valid point what you just said there. Turkey's been on the island for 51 years now. And I think we can say it's a fact that since they've been there, there's been peace on the island.
Yeah.
There's been no killing. There's been, you get the odd occasional silly little protests on the border or this and that. Yeah. But there hasn't been any massacres. There hasn't been any, ethnic cleansing attempts or coups.
There's been no intercommunal violence between the Greeks and the Turks. That's the most important thing.
Yeah, so I think that's a fact. We can safely say since Turkey's been there, there's been peace on the island. And I will just state this again for everyone. Me personally, I don't want any outside forces on the island, any outside states, establishments, organisations on the island. That's what I want.
But you want to change it, and you want to unify everything in it. So,
Without any outside influence.
Okay. But that's going to change everything, right? So it might.
I mean, it's going to change what we have right now. The island split into 4.
It causes all the drama.
Yeah.
Your solution might cause all the beef.
See, the problem I have for Cyprus is that it has literally become a fucking prostitute. The island has become a prostitute.
Oh, okay.
So you know what I found out recently? I only found this out a few months ago. Do you know how many permanent stationed US military troops are stationed in Cyprus? Do you know? There's 192 permanently stationed in Cyprus. That's the US military, permanently stationed.
In the UK bases?
In the UK base, in Akrotiri. Yeah. They've got Chinooks, they've got, what are those other, Ospreys, it's literally a USA military base.
It's a military base, basically.
It's a UK sovereign territory, but the USA are based in the UK are letting the USA just
They're basically using it like Airbnb, like they're just like...
I think it's more than an Airbnb because they're permanently stationed there. There's 192 military personnel permanently stationed in Akrotiri.
Yes. And you obviously know what's happening with the influx of Israelis.
Yeah, I mean this is what I'm saying, that the island is becoming a prostitute.
Forget about Geneva talks and UN talks and all of this waste of time. This is all bollocks as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I think the one thing that would automatically bring Turks and Greeks to the table and say forget everything would be an outside threat trying to come and take over Cyprus. That would automatically...
But the sad thing is that started a long time ago, and it's happening right now, right in front of everyone's eyes. That it's very difficult to stop it happening when it happens very, very slowly. And it's like very little pieces being taken away slowly. It started, I would say it started before 1974. It started...
Of course.
You know what, we might as well just move on to the next sort of stage of the conversation now.
One sec.
Yeah.
Is there not a chance that the US bases that are there are keeping Cyprus as safe as it is, kind of thing?
Anywhere where the USA is and the UK is, not including the UK or the USA, the country, there is war. There is division. There is killing.
It's not in Cyprus.
There is
50 years, you said.
Huh?
Not in Cyprus, though.
Yeah, but they're using it as a station to the Middle East. That's what remember what I said. Cyprus has a very strong geographical importance for military.
So basically, right now, like I would say almost on a daily basis, there's RAF jets flying out of Cyprus and gathering intel because they're flying out of Cyprus and over Palestine, especially over Gaza. Yeah, and they're gathering intel and obviously sharing that with their allies, which are Israel and the US.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact number, but since October the 7th, we won't even get into that. Since then, there's been, I can't remember the exact number, but it's over 1,000 flights over Gaza.
Yeah.
Just to collect intel for Israel.
For Israelis.
Wow.
I mean, the day that...
Flying out of Akrotiri. So Cyprus is being used as, like I said, a prostitute. It's a prostitute.
So I want to basically move on to how we even got to a position where the UK was able to have 2 bases on the island.
Yeah.
Do you want me to transition?
Yeah, go on. So, let's start at the end of the Second World War. I think that's where the Cyprus issue...
I'll go a little bit before that.
Go on.
So Cyprus was Ottoman territory. In the late 1800s, there was an agreement between the Brits and the Ottomans that Cyprus essentially would be leased to the Brits. Now, it was still part of Ottoman territory, but it would be governed by the Brits. I would say that...
Why did the Brits want it? Let's quickly state that.
The location, right?
Yep.
So I think this is everything to do with... what's it called?
This was in the height of their naval... Britain had the biggest naval military in the world. They controlled the world. The empire where the sun doesn't set.
What's the thing?
The Suez Canal.
The Suez Canal. Yeah. It had basically... Everything was to do, in my opinion, with that, with the Suez Canal. Why they wanted to be in Cyprus in the first place.
Yeah.
Now,
it was to basically to reach India.
Yeah.
It would shave off months. We didn't, have plane
it's all
transport and stuff
economics.
like that.
This is
So
all got to
normally
do with
they'd have to
money.
go right around the African continent and then come up the Indian Ocean up to India.
That's right.
Because India was part of the Commonwealth, the British Empire. So having it goes through Egypt, the Suez Canal, and then comes out into the the Gulf, and then into the Indian Ocean. So having that military base in Cyprus, which is right next to the Suez Canal, basically ensured the safety of their ships passing through. Or not ensured, but helped the ships pass through.
Could have got that up on the screen.
We'll definitely bring that up on the screen. Oh yeah,
Could have.
could have, but we'll bring it up on the screen for everyone watching.
Maybe.
You will, yeah, you will.
Maybe.
But yeah,
I
so
will.
go on.
So I think after the Brits obviously were, I would say Cyprus became a colony for the Brits. That's what they do. They come and colonize. I think out of this, the Brits being in Cyprus, the native people didn't like that at all. Specifically the Greek Cypriots. And then
Have we moved up to the end of Second World War now? Okay.
so
But I think just
You wanna
adding
go
as well,
back?
so, the Ottomans eventually gave it up to the Brits because they were having wars of their own and they needed the Brits offered to help them.
This
and-
happens. This happens in the late 1800s.
Yeah.
Now, then a group was formed within on the Greek Cypriot side. This group's called EOKA.
Now this is where this right here. This is the bulk of this
the
thing,
issue.
because EOKA
Yeah.
EOKA is the Ethnikis Organosis Kyprion Agoniston. That's basically the Cypriot. Sorry, you're right there.
No, you know what I'm saying? You start speaking
It's the organisation
the
of
subtitles as well.
Yeah, no, you can put that up. But it's the Organisation of Cypriot Fighters or whatever. But God, yeah, carry on.
that's right.
This organisation, what you're talking about, this is going to be the bulk of our thing because they're instrumental to the downfall of the
I
Republic
think
of
they
Cyprus.
are the single, the only reason, if you ask me.
Slightly more to it, but
Yeah.
they are instrumental. This is the downfall of Cyprus. Now we're talking.
So they started basically guerrilla warfare against the Brits. They did not want them on the island.
So let me just.
Well,
so
let-
Turkish people said the Turkish part said, "Yeah, come here."
No.
And the Greek,
No. So let's start with EOKA. We'll just call it EOKA. What were their founding principles and what did they want? Because it's very important we say this because people need to know this. What were they? What was the reason they were established?
Initially, what the narrative is, and I would call it the narrative, is that, and I have to explain this part as well, otherwise it's not gonna make sense. There's two groups. There's EOKA A and EOKA B.
Let's start with EOKA A.
EOKA A were, the main purpose of EOKA A, well, what the narrative is, was to fight against the British and get them off of the island.
There was another main purpose, and this is the one I want to concentrate on
About Enosis.
more than anything.
So about Enosis,
yeah.
But this happened after.
Yeah.
I would say this happened after or
No, their founding principles was to expel Brits.
I believe that.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't buy that.
Well, they're wrong. This is facts.
Okay,
because,
fine.
Because
I can say that then.
yeah.
Okay,
No.
so
This is fact.
wait,
This
hold
is
on.
what the whole point we're having this thing because the facts are in there. This is undisputed facts that people can go away now and check for themselves. You can go to the British Library right now, and they hold hundreds of articles that were, leaflets handed out by EOKA, lots of things handed out, and we're talking in the 50s now. Now, their main purpose was not only to expel the Brits from the island, but was to unify the island with Greece, annex the island with Greece,
So
make it a Hellenic Greek island.
And this, I'm going to go back now. There's a bit of backwards and forwards here, okay? Enosis, the word enosis, I don't speak Greek, but in my understanding, it means union, right?
Yeah.
So they wanted to unify Cyprus and Greece. And this, for me, in my research, goes all the way back to the early 1820s, I think 1823. Okay, when I think it was the Greek War of Independence. When Greece won their independence from the Ottoman Empire, there was something that was born called the Magali idea, and that was to Hellenize all of the previous Greek territories, Cyprus being one of them.
But this is another point. I'm glad you just mentioned that. When you say previous territory, when are we referring to?
you would have to go back to I don't know.
Well, there's only one time in history Greece has actually ruled over Cyprus.
I would
that
say,
was Alexander the Great.
Yeah. So you would talk about the Asian Greeks at this point. Or,
Yeah. Well, the only time Cyprus was part of Greece, was a Greek island, was when Alexander the Greek ruled over the
So I
island.
would say like
There was other, I think there was a little point before then. There was a Greek presence on the island.
so you had basically ancient Greek city-states
Yeah.
in Cyprus, but simultaneously you had other city-states, some being Persian and some from different other empires, and this was about 1100 years before Christ up until 400 years before Christ. You're talking 700 years, okay? But that's way back. You're talking like 3,000 years ago. But yeah, the Magali idea was to Hellenize all of those previous territories,
yeah.
right? To make them Hellenic. Now, fast forward back to EOKA and Enosis. You said that there was two main objectives. Number one was to get rid of the Brits and the colonial powers, and number two was to unify Cyprus with Greece. And I would argue that there was a third point.
Yep.
And this is not my opinion. This is something which I've read. There was three founding fathers, I would say. I think there was more, but the main three. The third one, his name escapes me. Number one was
Grivas, the general.
Macarios. And there was one more, I forgot his name.
The bloody...
No, Samson.
Samson was the 6-day president, the 1 week president.
So, in 1962, so this is 2 years after the formation of the Republic of Cyprus, Macarios is quoted to have said, unless this, what's the exact quote? Unless this small group forming part of the Turkish race is expelled from Cyprus, then the duties of the heroes of EOKA can never be considered as terminated.
Yeah.
No, and actually he adds, unless this group forming part of the Turkish race, who has been the great enemy of Hellenism, is expelled from the island, that the duties of the heroes of EOKA can never be considered terminated.
Macarios, he said many statements like that. It wasn't just the one. He even said it during the signing of the Constitution. He said silly things during the signing of the Constitution.
But this is why I don't buy when certain people say, no, this was their objective. My friend, I don't really care what your opinion is. I'm taking it from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
Facts.
This is what he is, one of the founding fathers of those group, and he is saying that this is their stated intention.
Yeah.
Not only do they want to get rid of the British, not only do they want to unify Greece, but also they want to expel the Turkish people from the island.
Yeah.
By any means necessary.
Yeah.
So who are they trying to unify then?
They want to unify Cyprus with
They
Greece.
wanted to make Cyprus Greece.
Yeah.
That was their founding principle.
So it would
That's
be
not
like annex.
unifying. I thought unification would be unifying the Turkish Cypriots and the Greek Cypriots.
No.
So what are you talking about unification?
So
then?
this
What are you
group-
Oh
unifying?
no, this is different. This is
EOKA, this group, we're talking about EOKA. So this group, the Brits called them a terrorist organisation. They probably were, some of the stuff they did.
Unification of the factions in Thingy. That's actually happening.
No, it's like, for example, I don't know. Let's give an example. You have
They just
Britain.
wanted to annex Cyprus with Greece, but make Cyprus Greece. That's it. Another
basically.
Greek island. That's what their founding principle.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, you have France and you have little French islands,
Yeah, no, I get it.
and they want to make that part of France.
It was Cyprus. They just wanted to be Greece.
Yeah, they
That's
want it to
it,
be one
yeah.
with Greece.
Now,
That's what they want.
They're not just some little couple of kids messing about, whatever. I mean, at the height of their prominence, whatever you want to call it, they had I think it was about 1,500 members of this organisation. Now, can you imagine 1,500 people in Cyprus that are calling for the unification with Greece?
So
Now,
actually, there was
more than that. But
there
I'm
was a
saying the
vote
group
done.
itself, the active members, that's a lot of people.
There was a vote done, and I think the number is 93%. 93% of Greek Cypriots voted for Enosis.
When was that?
This is, I forget the date. It could be late 50s. I think it might be 58. But don't quote me.
Where did you hear that?
This is something that I've read. I'll send you the thing. You can put it up on the on the screen.
Yeah, because this is where
I don't. The amount of people that were polled or voted for that, again, that would be something that I'll send to you. But I remember the numbers.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll definitely look those numbers up. But for me, this group, EOKA, you've got Greek Cypriots living in Cyprus at the time that are agreeing with, the founding principles of this group.
Yeah.
And this is after the constitution was created and whatever.
Right.
So we're moving past 1960.
So this is, just to be clear, this statement of wanting to rid the island of Turkish Cypriots was made 2 years after the founding of the Republic.
Yeah. No, I mean...
So that's like me and you, right? We go into business. Me and you go into business. And 2 years after we start our business, I go out in public and say, fuck these lot, fuck this guy. I want to get him out. In public...
He was calling but this is the problem. I don't know if you're aware. He wanted that long before the constitution was made.
But the thing is, after the part of the constitution that people need to remember, and I see some of the attitude that I see is that it was a Greek country or Greek territory,
it never. This is the thing. It never wasn't.
And the Turks were along for the ride. That's not what the constitution says. There's two founding. It's co-founded. The Republic is co-founded by two communities, right? Yeah. Equal, Greeks and Turks. There's
political
That's political equality. Says. There's also two official languages, Greek and Turkish. After this statement was made, right? 2 years after the foundation of the Republic, a year after that, in '63, Macarios, he unilaterally amended 13 points to the constitution.
He tried to.
Right? One of them was getting rid of the veto power of the vice president.
Yeah.
Essentially trying to usurp power from the Turks, making sure that they don't have political equality within the government.
Yeah.
When this happened, the Turks walked away from the government. So this is not what we founded, basically. And they walked out of the government. And I would say from here is when all of the issues started.
I think that, for me personally, the issue started even before the constitution was made.
Like the violence.
The Republic of Cyprus was doomed from the get-go because we've got Macarios. He never ever wanted a republic that was joint community. He's Turkish. So he never wanted it, even before he signed it. Even at the signing of the constitution, I think there's some videos and there's articles you can read. Yeah. He even hesitated to sign it, but he signed it. Saying at some point later we will be basically annexing Cyprus with Greece. He signed it under that pretense. So he was doomed from the get-go. We have a fucking archbishop that is not only un-Cypriot, he's anti-Cypriot. You can't call yourself a Cypriot, but at the same time call for the unification with another country. But that's what a lot of people... to this day, it bugs me that you've got Cypriots posting Greek flags and enosis and shit like that. It's like, you're not even Cypriot then. You're calling for your own country to die and join with another country.
Well, essentially, yeah. That's what
it's fucking a joke to me.
Like, we have things like today, like in the South, the national anthem is what? Is the Greek national anthem from Greece. Everywhere you look, you have the people waving Greece flags.
I mean, they do it in the north.
They do it in the north. They do it in the north as well. I'm not, I'm not. It's not something that I'm not trying to be a hypocrite, but this is something that I want to point out. Now, again, the whole idea of having an archbishop as a president of it was doomed for, because then not only are you now dividing us along, are we divided on ethnicity or lines of ethnicity? Now we're divided religiously as well, because obviously Turkish Cypriots are Muslims, and then you have an archbishop in charge of the entire population.
So
and I have a question that I want to ask you, and I want a genuine answer.
Go for it.
Okay, remove Turks from Cyprus. Let's say they never were there. Instead, you had Russian Orthodox or another Orthodox community with the same religion, right? It could be Russian, Ukrainian, Romanian, Bulgarian, whatever.
Orthodox.
Right, but Orthodox.
Yeah.
This question has two parts. Number one, do you believe that what happened would have happened to that community? And if it did happen, do you believe that do you believe that it would have taken this long to resolve the issue?
My honest answer to the first question is I don't know. My honest answer to the second question is no, we wouldn't have gone on for 51 years. There's no way.
I believe that also.
Yeah. But I think this brings me on to my next point, and I don't know if you've ever even looked into anything like this. So I think we've already established, and it's quite easily, anyone can go out there and look at the facts, is the Republic of Cyprus was doomed from the get-go. We have a president who is calling for the unification with another country, so and that's even before the constitution was signed, and we have this terrorist organization called EOKA, which is basically the feet on the ground pushing towards that goal.
Yes.
And we haven't even signed the fucking constitution yet. So Cyprus was doomed from the get-go, and that is it's a fact, man. It's a fact. I mean, we can't say it's a fact, but it's as close to a fact as we're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only reason.
Now, for me, this brings me on to a load of other stuff which people out there will call conspiracy theories, yeah? Whenever there is division, whenever there is war, why is the USA and the UK always fucking involved? And they always seem to be there, yeah. So, for me, why was Macarios put on this pedestal and made the leader of Cyprus? Because that's what he was, number one. Number two, where the fuck did EOKA come from? So for me, I believe that these things were orchestrated by the Western powerhouses. That's what I believe. I believe that.
Another element to this is communism was on the rise also.
Yes.
There's a declassified conversation between what's his name, Henry Kissinger and Bülent Ecevit. Bülent Ecevit was the then Prime Minister, President of Turkey, and Henry Kissinger was the Foreign Minister of the United States. Foreign Minister, head of the CIA, whatever the hell he was. Okay, and in that conversation, and as much as I love Bülent Ecevit, right, he says that one of the best deterrents or counters to communism in Cyprus is the Turkish peasants of Cyprus. This is another thing. This is another aspect that a lot of people need to understand. You go through after the Second World War. It was a power race. Who was going to become the world superpower? The Russians, the Soviets, the Americans.
It was the bankers.
Yeah.
They won. The bankers always win.
I forgot, what was your first question? You asked me two parts. Why Macarios was there? Why he was put there?
It's just my theory. Why the fuck was an archbishop with pretty much no political knowledge, no political allies anywhere, risen and put on a pedestal and named as the leader of the new Republic of Cyprus? And where the fuck did EOKA come from? Like, where did this all just vanish, come up out of thin air?
I feel like sometimes in life things just naturally take place, okay? If someone's oppressing me, my first instinct is to rebel and to fight back, okay? Now, naturally, if there was a resistance group, or if you want to call EOKA a resistance group, for argument's sake, we could say, okay, fine. But then these powers, which you mentioned, they're the biggest opportunists in the world. They always find opportunities to meddle and to cause division for their own benefit. Everywhere you look in the entire world, right?
All throughout history.
Throughout this method is tried, tested. Yeah. They've done this rinse and repeat all over the entire world, all over the world. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know if I want to say that this was all planned. EOKA was planted by the British or the CIA. However, I will have that discussion about, did the CIA and the British, stick their noses where they didn't belong and meddle you sow one against the other for your own benefit. Ultimately, what did the British get out of it? They got 2 sovereign bases on the island.
Yep.
In my eyes, they won. Everybody else
Of course
lost.
they did.
They won.
All you have to
Everybody
do
else
is
lost.
look at the map of Cyprus now, and then you can see who accomplished their goals and who didn't.
But one
Who were the losers, who were the winners.
But one very important point that I have to make, and I always make this point, even if the British were pitting one against the other, right, one community against the other, ultimately it was up to those people to do what they did. Does that make sense?
100%.
If my brother's sitting here, if my brother or
You
my
can give
cousin or
someone a gun,
whoever,
but that person has to pull
yeah,
the trigger.
yeah, exactly, simple as that. You have to be held accountable for your own actions. Simple.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
So they could have done all the propaganda in the world. It doesn't mean shit to me. Ultimately, we were neighbours and we were, we lived with each other for how long? And all it took was for one arsehole to come and whisper in your ear, and we're here today. No, I don't accept that. You have to be held accountable for your actions on both sides, because I don't accept that the Turks didn't do anything. No, it's well documented, the atrocities that happened on both sides.
Go on, carry on. We'll start getting onto the.
It's well documented. So, but ultimately, the way forward is accountability.
Yeah.
I will not listen to a word you have to say unless you're willing to own up and accept your part in the problem. Not you. I'm talking about the other side. And we will sit here and we'll hold our hands up and we will accept our part. It's the only way you're going to move forward.
Literally, this is what the goal of this podcast today is for me, man. It's just to accept what's happened, man.
Yeah.
And people just don't want to accept it.
The hardest thing, I think, in my opinion, the human being can do is to look in the mirror and accept that you're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
So yeah, let's move a little bit up the timeline, and then we'll start talking about acceptance of the facts.
So
we've got the constitution. It's been signed. We've got guaranteeing powers.
What year was this?
So this was in 59, actually, just before the year the constitution was put into play. There was a meeting in Switzerland, Zurich, with Greek Cypriot, Turkish Cypriot leaders, and then we have guaranteeing powers from Greece, Turkey, and the UK. So we've got loads of people sitting around at the table now, forming this, guarantee to the island, guarantees to the constitution.
Alliance.
I won't call it an alliance. It was basically they were forming the Republic of Cyprus, and these guaranteeing powers, Turkey, Greece, the UK, were there to ensure that the Republic of Cyprus remained a going concern.
Right. So, essentially, when the Republic was founded, part of the agreement between Cyprus or the Cypriots and the British would be that the British will withdraw from the island, but in exchange for their withdrawal, they want 2 sovereign bases on the island.
Retain their military sovereign bases.
Right. So which is basically
and Akrotiri.
Yeah, right. And then the Treaty of Guarantee was signed between 3 nations, the UK, Turkey, and Greece. So these were the guarantor powers of the island. Meaning, if anything should happen to the constitution, or if for example, if what happened, if someone would try to overthrow the government and destroy the constitution, it was the responsibility of these guarantor powers to come and restore that constitution.
Or intervene, shall we say.
Right.
So one of the I think it's Article 1 and 2 of the guarantee there clearly stated that the island is to never be unified with another country. That was like one of the first points to be made. So the whole founding principles of EOKA, the whole idea of enosis, that was completely
unconstitutional.
Anti-Cypriot.
Yeah.
That's anti-Cyprus.
Yeah.
So anyone calling for that motion, that end goal, is against their own country. You're against your own people.
Right. I agree with you.
Yeah. So everyone knows what happened. Everyone doesn't know what happened, but I don't. Yeah, it was around 1964. The atrocities committed towards the Turkish Cypriot community really started to increase in frequency, increase in severity, and it got to the point where Cyprus, the original constitution, just wasn't being adhered to anymore.
So there was a period of 10 years of intercommunal violence.
Between like 1964 to 19.
Yeah, to 74. Now, everything started, the intercommunal violence started in 64, December 20th or December 21st. It lasted Bloody Christmas. And basically, the story goes that there's a Turkish Cypriot woman and 2 of her relatives. They get pulled over in a car by a Greek Cypriot officer. There's confrontation and 2 of them get shot and killed, Turkish Cypriots. And then that's when literally everything goes to shit for 10 years.
There was numerous, we'll try not to talk too much about it because this is where emotions kick in.
Yeah.
Between 1963 to 1974, Turkish Cypriots were basically being slaughtered.
And
they were being pushed
into enclaves.
Yeah, into anyone that don't know what an enclave is, it's basically just like a sort of country within a country, if you want to call it that. Like, we have Cyprus, but then within just that, you've got a little tiny community where they just can't even.
You're not allowed. You're not allowed.
Almost
to
like
leave.
your C40 15-minute cities. What the fucking global powers and agendas they're trying to push on us now. That is what effectively happened to Turkish Cypriots in that time. They were pushed into little enclaves. Yeah. And they were.
I think it's important to talk about TMT as well, which is TMT.
TMT. Let's talk about TMT.
So TMT was, of course, what we would call a resistance group. The idea TMT wasn't. There was no existence. There was no TMT until the idea of Enosis started to be to spread throughout Greek Cypriots. TMT was set up to basically protect Turkish Cypriots. It's like
I'm glad you said that because some people they like to describe TMT as like the Turkish equivalent to EOKA.
Yeah.
And it is by far
absolutely
nothing like EOKA.
I don't agree with that at all.
It's completely not the same. Their founding principles, their idea, their goals,
completely different.
Nothing to do with
are you gonna
equivalent.
The important and another I think important thing to mention. Were TMT perfect? No, they weren't. Did they make mistakes? Yes, they did. Did they do things that they shouldn't have done? Absolutely. However, like the important distinction to make is that the reason for the inception of EOKA versus TMT is completely different.
Yeah,
absolutely different. One is to resist and to protect themselves, and the other is to completely dominate and annihilate.
Yeah,
I don't know how you can make these 2 things are not equal.
They're not comparison.
No way. There's no other scenario or comparison that you could give where you can make these 2 entities the same thing. You cannot.
Yeah, and this brings me back to what I said quite towards the beginning. I said out of all the parties involved, we've got the Brits, we've got the Greeks, the Turks, the Greek Cypriots, the Turkish Cypriots. All these parties involved. The Turkish Cypriots were the most innocent of the lot. They suffered the most out of all the parties involved. The Greek Cypriots definitely suffered as well. We've all suffered, but the Turkish Cypriots, not at any stage did they do anything wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, I agree.
The Turks, I'm not saying the Turks didn't when they came in 1974. I'm not saying they definitely did wrong, but Turkish Cypriots, not at any point did they do anything wrong.
I agree with you. I think.
Yeah. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say. So what is so every Greek Cypriot that will be here in England right now? What are they gonna say? Are they gonna say, well, we just want our land back? What are they gonna say? Are they gonna say we were persecuted? What are they gonna say?
Look. Me, as a Greek Cypriot, I'm saying this.
Not you though. I'm talking about another.
No, but this is what I'm saying to those people right now. As a Greek Cypriot myself, everybody must have heard me say this a million times. The shit I live by every day. You can't be wrong and strong.
Yeah.
You have to be right to fight. I live by those fucking words. Yeah.
We say that as well.
You can't. Yeah. You can't.
Hem suçlu hem güçlü.
You can't.
What will they say though? What will the Greek Cypriot people say? Are they saying like, you came over to our land and invaded us, we just wanted to get rid of you? What's their argument like? Because you're saying that.
I mean, they can say that, but it doesn't change the fact that Turkish Cypriots were innocent in this whole conflict, this whole whatever you want.
Will they agree though? Is what I kind of mean.
Will they agree that Turkish Cypriots were innocent?
Well,
some may agree, some may not.
May disagree. Yeah.
But I'm talking facts, man. Turkish Cypriots never went out to kill Greek Cypriots.
I just want to know what their argument would possibly be. Is it like, you come, what's the argument? Because they come to take their country,
Again,
they wouldn't accept the unification. Like, what is it like? Why is Greek Cypriots going to say that they are not the innocent ones in this?
Because it's a highly emotive subject. People lost family members, they lost land, they
Property.
lost everything. And people that do know the facts want to block out the fact that Turkish Cypriots were innocent. And people that don't know the facts, they're just ignorant to the facts. They're just, they've heard years of their bapur, their yayas,
why they was going
saying, I lost this bit of land, and my sister died, and and I don't blame them. It's a highly emotive subject, but they're what they're doing is they're blocking out the loss and the tragedy of other parties.
So I assume that Turkish Cypriots retaliated, right, with any sort of...
Turkish Cypriots never retaliated. Turkish Cypriots never retaliated.
Who retaliated?
Turkey came and intervened, and there was retaliation from the Turkish military.
Yeah.
But Turkish Cypriots never did anything wrong.
So you can just say that
they tried to defend themselves, but it's defending yourself wrong.
But once it's already
if someone
happened,
has come and
then you talk
slaughtered-
about the individual and the emotions, isn't it? And then everyone's just bad as each other after that.
Yeah,
Once
I could
someone
name,
retaliates.
multiple, villages in Cyprus that the whole village was slaughtered. Children, women, everything.
we
Turkish Cypriots.
We know two people, one family and somebody else.
Yeah.
From no, it was from Tokni.
True.
Right? One party had, I think, 19 members from his family executed.
This is what I'm
Right.
saying. We could talk
But then-
about this all day long.
But the point, this is what I discussed with Andreas before I became. We can't talk about emotions, and we can't talk about each other's losses, because how are you going to measure your pain versus mine? How do you
can't.
measure that?
You can't.
It's impossible.
And how are we going to
So-
move into the future
That's
if all
right.
we ever do
That's right.
is talk about
You can't.
our emotional losses?
So
And
it's only because you said they're innocent, innit? Why does it even matter to say that then if the emotions are involved? Innocence.
it's just a point I wanted to
It's
raise,
just a matter of
because there's
fact.
multiple parties involved in the Cyprus issue. And if you want to look at who was the most wrong and who was the most, innocent or where, no one's right. But if you want to look at, if I want to, the saying I live by, you have to be right to fight. You can't be wrong and strong.
Yeah.
The Turkish Cypriots did nothing wrong, man. Turkish Cypriots didn't really do anything wrong.
Why explain it to you?
We can't hear you though.
Not particularly good.
Oh. I think you dispute. So imagine you're living in the village. Imagine you're living in the village, right? And I'm your next door neighbour, and I'll bring you food every day. You're Greek, I'm Turkish. I'll bring you food. You play with my children. We get along. And then EOKA starts their shit. And as soon as they move in, you then come for my son that you were paying this. You then come for my husband. You then pull my husband out. You race the limit. Like, it was like that. It was those people. But what happened was, from the Western world, all that got erased. It was from when Turkey invaded.
So do you know how? So
Yeah.
I think
It didn't
yeah.
get erased, but people just want to
Don't-
block
they'll
out
block-
how we
Okay,
got to
I'm gonna
90s.
I'm gonna make this very easy for you to understand. There's a current conflict going on today. Okay.
Yeah.
On every single news outlet, where does the story start? From what date?
21st of July, 1974.
No. I'm talking about the 7th of October 7th.
Oh, right, you're talking about
October
that. Oh,
7th.
right.
October 7th. All you motherfucking hear is October the 7th. Yeah. You don't
With
hear
the Israel
anything what
Palestine.
happened from 1948 up until October 7th. This is what he's trying to explain.
Okay.
They're blocking
They
out
won't-
one
most
entire
people-
side of the story.
Most people won't even, literally 5 days before the 6 days before the 21st of July, 1974. They don't even want to look that far
Yeah,
back.
yeah, 6 days before.
The Cyprus issue, for most people, started on the 21st of July,
1974.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, 20th of July. Some said 21st, it's 20th of July. It's
And what
late
happened
right
then?
now.
So, okay, 14th of July. Are we going straight to 74 now?
Let's go to 74,
Okay,
man.
so
Let's go to 74.
Oh, sorry, I didn't.
So there's 10.
This is not actually a film.
So you got 10 years of intercommunal violence that all comes to a head in July of 1974. July 14th, 1974, there's a Greek invasion, a Greek junta, what they call it.
So it's basically the government in Greece at that time was controlled by the military.
So yeah,
It's a military government.
Yeah, they overthrew their government, and then they sent troops over to Cyprus and overthrew the president, which was Macarios at the time. 6 days later. Now, here's one important distinction to make before we get to when Turkey came over. According to the constitution, you can only have 650 Greek troops, like from Greece, at any given time, and 300 troops from Turkey. That was all the constitution allowed. Okay, Turkey was actually going to come before 1974, and again, don't kill me. I might have the date wrong, but I think it was in 68. Turkey was going to come in 68, not in 74. Why? The ambassador to Ankara, the U.S. ambassador to Ankara, wrote a book. Again, I'll have to send you the name of the book. In his book, he says that at that time there was, and the conservative number is 9,000, if I'm not wrong, 9,000 troops from Greece.
Greek troops
were on the island. Okay, that's more than 10 times the amount that the constitution allows. So Turkey was thinking of coming over in 68, not in 74. And then there was he brokered basically an agreement between Greece and Turkey, and they withdrew their troops. And then 6 years later, they come again, they overthrew the government this time, and, by default, got rid of the constitution. There is no constitution. It's now under the control of this fascist government, or this military coup.
So this is the 15th of July 1974.
14th or 15th?
I think it was the 15th.
15th, okay, maybe 15th, yeah. And then 6 days later, now Turkey comes over. And it lasts for 3 days? 21st. So after they overthrow Macarios.
Yeah. Let's rewind it back to the 15th of July, because these are very important dates.
Okay.
Right now. So you've got to remember. So this is another very, very important question I have. Where the fuck was Macarios? This is a man, that has been calling for the unification with Greece his entire political career. But the second Greece do come to annex the island, which they successfully did, he had to run for his life.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is no one asking these questions? Why the fuck?
Because
how does that even make sense?
Initially, Macarios was in favor of Enosis.
Yeah.
Then when things started to get hairy and scary, he changed his tone.
It.
Yeah, he
but
shit himself.
that don't make no sense. That don't make no sense.
This
to
is
me.
for him to answer.
That don't make no sense to me. Not even the little slightest bit. That don't make no sense to me.
Because his
power thing was something, innit?
So no, because what EOKA were doing and the fascists were doing is they were outright killing Turks left, right, and center. Macarios tried to play a little bit clever. He was paying Turkish Cypriots to leave the island.
Oh, okay.
So when people are getting massacred, for him, he's like, well,
He didn't want no part of that.
I don't want that. Like,
He wasn't on
basically
that.
shit.
Well, that's probably why, innit?
No, he was quite public.
He didn't want to massacre
but-
them, did he? He probably wanted to take over, but he wanted unification, but he didn't want to massacre.
But this is the thing.
But it was being done by a lot of these atrocities were being committed by the Greek administration.
But they just might have separate ideals. They are people, individuals at the end of the day. Then even though they work under the same kind of
Listen,
roof,
you don't
ideas.
have this goal, of enosis, and you're a founding member of the EOKA organization. Yeah, you don't have this for years and years, his entire political career. This is what he wanted, and then all of a sudden it comes and you bottle it.
Yeah.
No, man, that don't make no fucking sense.
So what do you think it is then? Why do you think that? Why do you think
These are the questions.
is that you don't have maybe an idea?
I don't have the answer. That's why I'm asking the question. But my opinion is this was all orchestrated. Why the fuck was an archbishop risen on a pedestal and named the leader of a newly formed country?
So you mean they're waiting for this time? And
Of
then
course they fucking whoever orchestrate. I believe this whole thing was orchestrated. Another question for you: why the fuck was the Cypriot National Guard so easily captured? Their duty, the Cypriot National Guard, was to Cyprus. How they literally just folded like a piece of paper the second the Greeks came and invaded. And
How many were there? And how many? That's what you said. 9,000.
no,
this
the
was
Greek
before.
Cypriot National Guard. So we're talking about the Cypriot
yeah.
army.
Yeah.
These were they're loyal. They're supposed to be loyal to Cyprus, not Greece. Why did they fold so easily? Why were they so easily captured? Because they formed part of the coup.
Yeah.
Or maybe
Another question
well,
people need to be asking. And
if they formed part of the coup, then inherently, then they also wanted this to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
And if they wanted this to happen, who does the Cypriot National Guard take orders from? Who do they answer to?
well, remember the Cypriot National Guard are military. Military. If anything's ever going to be easy to capture, it's a military because you only need to just capture the person at the top, the general or the lieutenants, because the lower, soldiers on the hierarchy, they just take orders from the general.
Right.
So it's quite easily captured. I mean, it's quite easily the lower people down the hierarchy are quite easy. Are quite easily, given orders. But it's like, why was the people higher up the hierarchy, the lieutenants, the generals, why were they so easily captured?
Who says? Well, then I could play devil's advocate and say, well, who says they were captured? Maybe this is what they wanted.
Yeah, maybe they were placed there in the first place. Everyone, there was all people in command.
I mean, again, I have no way of.
Like you said, like,
These are questions I want people to ask.
really, like-
These are the things I want people to be asking, man.
Well,
Because
I think one very important point to make is when it comes to the intercommunal violence between Turks and Greeks, right? It wasn't just the fascists that were killing Turkish Cypriots, the far right. It was also some on the left. However, there's one very important distinction between both sides. The far right fascists were basically going into Greek homes, giving them weapons and saying, if you do not go and murk your Turkish neighbor, we're going to kill you and your family.
Yeah, okay.
So can you imagine when, like what Abla was saying before, like you're playing with your neighbor, right? Or you're eating together and drinking together and parties and birthdays and celebrations, holiday, whatever. And then all of a sudden that neighbor comes and kicks down your door and kills your family in front of your eyes. What are you going to think about that person and everything that person stands for? There's so much hate and resentment that you're going to have because it's such a shock. But you need to understand why it was done. Understand? It's not as easy as saying, even though there was a massive element of far-right fascists, and they were influencing the left also. There was a lot of people, there was a lot of Greek Cypriots that were escorting Turks to safety. They were hiding them. And
I was about to say, it's very important to mention that the majority of Greek Cypriots didn't want to expel Turks from the island. They did. You might have a different sort of take on that because it's very hard to. We can't, state that's a fact right now. But Greek Cypriot, the vast majority of Greek Cypriots wanted the Republic of Cyprus to remain. They didn't want the unification with Greece. They didn't want to kill their Turkish Cypriot neighbors.
So this is just some power-hungry Greek, basically, bringing over and trying to just take over the whole of Cyprus.
Fascists.
Basically just like that.
Yeah.
And maybe all of the people that were on Cyprus in the first place didn't want a part of it, but they got, they got manipulated, they got forced into doing things that they didn't necessarily want to obviously do, killing families and all that sort of stuff.
You got to remember, look, compare it to shit we see today, yeah? Now, this is no stab at any, type of people, whatever. But look at, we had issues with like I've forgotten his name, Abdul Rahman or whatever, where he stabbed the three girls up in Liverpool, whatever. And then you get this, movement creating now. We've got like UK reform, yeah, and I'm not taking a stab at them or whatever, but their primary, objective is immigration policies, isn't it?
Yeah. And
that has seemed to just pick up everywhere around the country now. It seems to be like the sole focus of politics almost, whatever. Can you now...
Yeah. That's what I mean. That sounds like some sort of operation that happened, like start some shit, other shit will happen because of it. And that seems like that possibly is what it is. But you didn't actually say what the big thing that was in 1974. So you said
okay,
that the coups happened,
The Greeks
and the
invaded.
Turkish came back. Turkish came to help. Sorry.
So
Yes.
And then
It's very important to mention,
Have we-
in 1974, on the 15th of July, the Greeks invaded
Yeah.
Cyprus.
Yeah.
That's what happened first.
Yeah, sure,
that
yeah,
was the
first.
very that's very important to say.
Yeah.
That's what happened first. That is, I won't say the start of the Cyprus issue, but that was the very first power move by any party
Yeah.
involved in the Cyprus issue. The Greeks invaded Cyprus,
that.
took over the government,
Right.
Yep.
Overthrew the
installed their
government.
own president. His
Yep.
name was Samson, the
Nicholas
1 week
Samson.
president, whatever you want to call him. Installed him in there, and the island was at that point officially annexed with Greece.
Yes.
Okay. And then,
Enosis had been achieved for 5-6
Yeah,
days.
for about 6 days.
Yeah.
Then comes over the Turkish military.
yeah.
You
So
tell
there's
us.
two. Yeah, right.
So
Yes.
have you not? Which bit's the bit that everyone remembers? Because you
The one we're talking
Okay,
about now.
the one
we're
This
talking
is
about.
where
Okay,
most Greek Cypriots, the Cyprus issue started.
this is where it started.
They've deleted everything that we've spoken about so far. So on the 20th of July.
Right.
there was no reason for the coup either. No, there's no reason for that. Before that,
I mean, this is just something they was
is just- they
calling
just
for
done
years.
that.
Yeah, that's what
Since
they
the
want.
50s.
okay, since that group, yeah,
Since EOKA had been established
okay,
in the 50s, this is just something
and this was
that
just
had
them making their move.
you know,
Okay,
been gaining momentum, and
Yeah,
now the
okay.
Greek military government, you know, had joined. Thought, oh right, we see an opportunity. Let's do it.
Okay.
So anyway, Yirmi Temmuz.
So you got 20th of July. Turkish military comes over. They come over in two waves. With Attila 1 and Attila 2.
Let's just now.
You're talking about Attila 1?
No. I was
okay.
going to say this Turkish military, intervention.
Intervention.
This was legal. This was a legal
Absolutely.
intervention. Remember the
Absolutely.
guarantee we were talking about in 1959, where they
Right.
all met up in Switzerland. So if anyone wants to go out there now, they can read the guarantee, the
Trail of
articles in
guarantee.
there, and it clearly states if any outside, I'm not saying it word for word, but if any outside state interferes with the affairs of Cyprus, Turkey, Greece, or the UK
Have a
can
responsibility.
they have a legal obligation.
Yeah, that's the word.
An obligation to intervene. So
Absolutely.
Turkey on the 20th of July was legally obligated to intervene.
There was a ruling in the court of Athens. I don't know exactly. Again, I have to send you the date. And they ruled that that it was a legal intervention.
Yeah.
So, even at that point, the government in Greece is acknowledging that it was an intervention.
Yeah.
And of course, all of these, I'll send you all of the materials for you to look over.
Sorry, man. Lyrics.
So I feel like in the conversations that I've had, I would say the majority of Greek Cypriots, they don't really have a problem with Attila 1. They have a problem with Attila 2. Because Attila 2 was the expansion of expanding their territory and taking 37% of the island.
Yes.
What they did, in the pursuit of, expanding their territory, is what they have a problem with, rightfully so. The reasons as to why they wanted to take so much of the island is disputed. Depending on what side of the conflict you're on, you're going to have a different idea as to why Turkey wanted to take so much territory. Now, putting it in, at that time, putting it into context, you have a population that's being persecuted. They're being pushed into enclaves, killed left, right, and center. And now the Turkish military has now come over to safeguard these people and protect them. You can't, let's say, for example, you're being attacked in this room, okay? Would you kick the guy out of this room, or would you kick him out of the building?
The room, then the building.
Say that again?
The room, then the building.
No, you don't just, let's say you're being attacked now, someone busts that door open and starts attacking you. Would you just fight him until he gets out of the room, or would you have him removed from the building?
Out of the building.
I would argue you would throw him until he's out of the car park.
Yeah, of course.
This is my approach to it. So they established almost like a territory, a safe zone for Turks, and then they expanded that. They expanded that safe zone. It's what they did in that second expansion that a lot of Greek Cypriots rightfully have an issue with. Because
This is where the legal argument sort of kicks in. So Turkey was legally obliged to intervene on the 20th of July 1974 when they invaded it.
Yeah.
So when they intervened on 20th of July 1974. When they sent that second wave he's talking about, and then they basically created two states, this is where the legal argument begins.
Right. Because a lot of people were displaced from the north. They were kicked out of their homes and basically displaced to the south.
A lot of Greek Cypriots actually lived in the north, and a lot of Turkish Cypriots actually lived in the south. So when this division of the island occurred, most of the island was displaced.
Yeah. So
Whether it was Turkish Cypriots or Greek Cypriots, most of the island just had to get up and move.
So you have about, I think there's over 200,000 Greek Cypriots that are displaced from the north and then pushed in what today is the south.
Where the Turkish Cypriots in the south pushed to the north.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Because
they
when they were
pushed both sides.
Yeah. They were pushed there originally because they were pushed into enclaves, and then when the intervention happened and they divided the island, this is what it's been till today. Even after '74, there were Greeks still living in the north.
We do. That's a lovely positive thing you've mentioned there. I love you done that, because we do still have actually mixed villages on both sides. There's was it Pile? Pile. I've been there loads of times. There's another one towards Buffer. I forget the name of it again. Someone out there's gonna have to help me with it. Yeah. But there is mixed villages still, which is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
So it's quite clear evidence that we still can live among each other.
So it's 3 years after, or 76, 74. There was another, I think it's called, is it Yalusa? Somebody has to correct me. I think it's Yalusa. There was another Greek village in the north of Cyprus that was completely expelled and pushed into the south.
Oh.
So what happened after 74, there were like UN aid trucks, convoys coming and distributing aid, distributing food, medicine. What happened is, let's say, for example, they were coming 4 times a week. Few weeks later, a few months go by, now they're only coming twice a week. Eventually they only come once a week until they just stop coming at all. So those Greek Cypriots were basically pushed out one way or another, not physically, but you're put into a position where you have nothing. Well, what are we going to do? We're starved to death, we have to leave. Do you understand? And that's one part of that I don't agree with.
But again, that was done by the Turkish military.
Yeah.
This is why I always go back to saying the most innocent party out of the lot was the Turkish Cypriots, because they actually never did any wrong to anyone.
Right. So it's, as Andreas was saying, when you talk about the Cyprus issue, 9 times out of 10, this story starts 20th of July, 1974. Every other event leading up to 20th of July, 1974 is completely ignored. It's either ignored or looked over in a way that is disrespectful to Turkish Cypriots.
I'm still not clear on the exact. So, just tell me what exactly happened on the 20th of the date that you said.
It was a war.
No, but I'm saying like because.
So
what's the big deal? The
big deal.
No, I mean in the sense that so the Turkish came to intervene. That's the big thing, yeah.
Right. Intervene in the Greek invasion.
Okay.
The Greek had invaded the island and had essentially accomplished their EOKA's goal of Enosis, annexing the island with Greece. So from that moment on there, Turkish Cypriots were rightfully so in fear of their lives, and they really were in fear. Their lives were in danger because they were going to shortly be expelled from the island or killed.
What's it called? The Great Intervention. It must be called something else to Greek people, though, isn't it?
I mean,
it's called the invasion.
So for the Turkish Cypriots, it's actually a national holiday. It's called Yirmi Temmuz, I think. And the Greek Cypriots absolutely hate it because the Turkish military do a massive display of planes flying over.
But
because ships come by.
Yeah, because Nicosia is divided. So it's
the only divided capital in the world.
Right, the only divided capital in the world.
Yeah.
The jets are flying over Nicosia.
Okay.
So, if you're on the Greek side of the city, you can still see the jets flying.
You can
over.
see everything.
And for them, it's a provocation.
You got to remember, for Greek Cypriots, that day marks the day they lost their land. Yeah. They lost family members.
But for Turkish Cypriots,
it marks the day they were saved. They really were saved, though, wasn't it? So it's like almost a yin and yang situation.
And they're still pissed off about it now.
Till today.
Yeah, I mean, generations have gone by.
Everyone knows all the information, and they're like, "This was."
But this is the thing: not everyone does know that. A lot of people are either ignorant to it or just don't know it,
or too in it, too emotionally invested.
Yeah. Like the people that were alive that day and lost land and this and that.
It don't matter what.
They generally pass down information to their children, their grandchildren, whatever, but they don't pass down all the information. What we're talking about now.
Well, it doesn't matter if my mum was killed. Do you know what I mean? Like, if in a situation like that, like they're just pissed off that my grandma.
That's it. All they say is the Turks came on the 20th of July and they killed your Bangpur. They killed your yaya, and they stole your ancestral family home that is still there today. And there's a Turkish Cypriot family living in there. That's what they.
Do you think the younger generation cares as much as the older generation?
No, I don't believe they do. But the problem is they've been spouted this. I won't say incorrect information, incomplete information, and that's all they know. So for them. Actually. Yeah, I do believe if another 51 years go by, the younger generation, sadly, the way they're going today, are fucking going to shit. And they're just going to not give a shit at all, are they?
A lot of people think that it will take for that generation, unfortunately, to pass away, right? It's not until
they kind of are now, aren't they?
Yeah, but even I would say another generation after that, because, it's still fresh. Do you understand? Somebody that was born in 74 is only 50, was it 52, 50, 51?
It's 51 years.
51 years old, okay? He's only 51 years old. That's, you're not old.
Yeah.
You're still young. Understand? You're still carrying that hurt, what your mother or your father passed on to you.
Yeah.
And if you're not someone who does what Andrea is saying to do, is to have the complete story, if you don't have the inclination to go and find out what actually happened, then more than likely you're going to harbor a lot of resentment, and then you'll pass that on to your children also.
Yeah.
So unless this generation, unfortunately dies out, it's going to be up to the new generation today and then thereafter.
Well, that is the only solution though, because it's like everyone can hold resentment.
I don't believe it is the only solution.
Everyone has resentment for something or another, innit? Whether or not it's like slavery or any other things in it. Like, and the only real solution is just the continuation in it, like generations.
No, you're right. Life goes on.
Understand history, but they have to kind of get over it. Not like that.
They would look. If they really wanted to, they will do exactly this. They'll sit down in a room and they'll come to a fucking solution. End of story.
But soon emotions won't be involved. Emotions won't be involved soon at some point. And
you can never get rid of emotions.
You cannot go into this conversation with your emotions.
Because there's slavery happened, didn't it? And my grandma was in this and that and blah blah blah. I'm not sitting here being upset that I'm sure my dad would be upset about it, or my granddad, but like.
You can't really compare this to slavery, though.
No, not that kind of slavery, but even like segregation, racism, heavy racism back in the day, whatever they were going through in it. Like you can still hold some sort of resentment and stuff. And I'm just saying that over time, even though
right, over time emotions do die down. 100%. I'm not disagreeing with that. But the point is, I don't think you're ever going to fully erase emotions out of the Cyprus issue. What we can do, though, is fully educate people the facts. Inform people the facts so they can
come to their own conclusions.
They can regulate their emotions, man, because most people have been taught some shit, their yaya told them or whatever. And that's true. You did lose your home, you did lose this, but you didn't find out why that happened. Why did the Turks come to the island, make two states? Why did it happen? Why did your house over there become a part of the Turkish Cypriot Republic? Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus. Why did that happen? Like, if you were just told your whole life, Turks came, killed your auntie, stole your house, and then all of a sudden now you find that actually all the information we've talked about now, you'd have a slightly different opinion and your emotions would slightly change that, wouldn't they?
In my opinion, when you want to come to an agreement, you have to take your emotions out of it. How else are you going to... we talked about this earlier. You can't compare pain.
No.
You have to set your emotions aside and come to the table and think rationally and be willing to work with the other side and to compromise. You can't go into that conversation, you can't have a seat at that table and say, do you know what, no matter what this fucking guy says, I don't give a shit. All I'm looking to do is take. You can't.
That's probably not going to happen with this
You
generation.
have to give in order to get.
This
That's how
brings
it
me
works.
on to the next part of the history timeline. Is there has been numerous attempts since 1974, since the creation of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus,
can't
to sit down at the table and try and reach either the actors as planned and unplanned. You know, it has been. There's been multiple attempts to, you know, reunify the island, create a federal solution. Sadly, I'm gonna have to say it again. It's all been, every single, you know, agreement, you know, every single meeting has always been rejected by the Greek Cypriot administration.
A lot of people say that rejection is justified, that, you know, they shouldn't have, that Annan plan was, this is 2004, which was backed by Erdogan in Turkey as well, that it was unfair on the Greek Cypriots. And then you have 2018 Crans-Montana, again, they couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah. I mean, now we have, I think for the first time in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus history, we have a president that actually doesn't want to reunify the island. He actually is pushing now for a two-state solution, isn't he?
It's either a two-state or federation.
Tadar.
Ersin Tatar.
Yeah.
Ersin Tatar, from listening to some of his speeches, the main thing that I hear from him is 2 points. One being political equality, and two being cooperation. That he wants to cooperate with the other side and work with each other for everybody to flourish, right? But it cannot come without political equality. We're not going to go back and be looked at as second class on the island. It's never going to happen ever again. That reality has now, you know, is changed. There's a new reality.
But the thing is with me is that constitution that was originally written was always doomed from the start. Well, I think we can all agree on that, can't we?
So would you be up for scrapping that constitution and rewriting it?
Yeah, or we could even go back to that, revisit it, amend it, and you know, I like I said at the start, I want to see Cyprus unified and expelling any forces that aren't Cypriot, any Western powerhouses, Turkey, Greece, UK, USA, you name it. I don't want anyone in there. And now we've got this massive threat of Israel coming. I just want Cyprus to. You know what I would love? You know, here we go. It's just a fucking dream of mine. I want us to just rewind back to 1959.
Yeah.
Remove Macarios and just put someone else there. So competent. Someone else there that's just not fucking. He was installed. Honestly, I truly believe he was installed there so the constitution failed. So the Republic of Cyprus was doomed from the get-go. We just need someone, fucking a normal human being, man.
I think I got a question for you about having a reunification or federation for Turkish Cypriots. The biggest issue in my, you know, from the conversations that I've had, is security.
100%.
Okay.
Like
now, let's say you wanna unify the island, and you don't want federation, and you don't want two states. You want one unified island. What would you do? What would you propose? What safeguards would you propose in order to make sure that what happened between 64 and 74 never happens again?
I mean,
because remember, one of your biggest points is you do not want any foreign military on the island.
Yeah, I think that's a really good question, and I think any Cypriot will know this. Men are required to do military service. Has your parents got a Cypriot passport?
Republic of Cyprus.
Yeah, Turkish Cypriot.
Yeah.
Or have they got a Greek Cypriot passport?
No, they got the
Turkish
Kimlik.
Cypriot.
They got the Kimlik.
Kimlik, yeah. So you've obviously had to go to Nicosia, sign your paper. Have you done
I haven't
military
done
service?
No. I want to go and do it. I'm not doing this whole thing where you pay.
Oh, you actually want to do the service?
Go do the service, yeah.
Okay, and you haven't done it yet.
No.
So you have at some point. Have you been to Cyprus?
No, I haven't been there.
Oh, this is why you haven't done it. So yeah, any Cypriot that's been to Cyprus in the last, you're as a man, you are required to do military service. If your parent is a Cypriot, you're not leaving the island. You're being arrested in the airport and you're staying there for. I think the minimum term you can do is 3 months or something like that, or you have to pay.
I think it's 90 days.
Yeah, the
You
total
sign-
it's
basi-
meant to be 15 months or something
Yeah.
like that. That's the full service. But if you're,
If you pay this much, you do less time, and if you pay the whole thing, you don't have to do it at all.
Did you have to do it?
No. So my mum was born here, so she doesn't have, and my dad. I'm a third generation.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So yeah. But they still give me shit because they can still look at the timeline and find out your grandparents and whatever. So I think I was 16 at one point. They pulled me into a room, threatened to arrest me. And I'm just like, I'm sitting there shitting myself. I can't,
How old
my
are you?
flight's in half. I'm 39. This was
No. I
years
mean, like,
I was 16 at the time, and I was there by myself on holiday, stayed at my family's house, pulled me into a room, telling me you're not getting on the plane, you're not leaving. I was like shitting myself or whatever. And that's someone who's a third generation, like.
Wow.
So men in the northern Cyprus are required. You're not
Yeah,
getting
you have
out.
to do your
you have
national
to do your
service.
military service.
So if you're
it's
not
a little bit easier on the Greek side because they have similar rules over there, whatever. But bringing
Yeah,
us back to that point now, every man in Cyprus is a trained
Yeah.
soldier.
yeah.
Every man in Cyprus.
You have to, if you're not going to do your service, you have to sign basically a waiver saying that you're not going to stay in Cyprus for more than
Yeah,
90
you've got
days.
90 days, and then you're out.
So 90 days at a time, you can't stay in Cyprus.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is
And
other
if you are, then they will arrest you.
there is other small exemptions, like you're allowed to prolong it. You can prolong it if you're studying. You can go and do stuff like this or whatever. But if you try to, you can leave the island, to go study. The second you come back to the island, you're being arrested. You're being sent.
I think if you get, I think it's 55. I don't know the age, but after you reach a certain age, I don't think you have to. do it at all.
Exactly. Yeah, you're
a
right.
lot of
So
people do
elderly
that.
don't need to do it,
Yeah.
whatever. But the point is, most of those elderly have already done it anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, getting back to what we were
Yeah.
talking about, we've got a population. Let's say 350,000 in Northern Cyprus. Let's say half of them are men. We have a population of 175,000 trained soldiers.
Yeah.
Well, let's say a little bit less because obviously you've got children included in that or whatever. So for me, unifying the island and providing a guarantee to Turkish Cypriot people, I think we've got quite a clear example right there.
So you would have a Turkish Cypriot armed force.
Yeah, I mean, you can establish it however you like. It can be, we can return back to the Cypriot National Guard, and we could say it's 50-50. I mean, Greek Cypriots would argue that, it needs to be probably 80-20 or something, or whatever the percentage is. But I think there's clear answers to, the Turkish Cypriot safety.
I got to disagree with you.
There's always answers. There's always answers, but it's just like, I believe that the powers that be, the ones
Look,
controlling
listen,
it,
I'm
the
gonna-
cabal, they're never going to let that happen.
I'll say it. I would love it if we lived in an idealistic world and what you said could be true.
Yeah.
And the way you said it, that's exactly how it would happen.
Yeah.
But we don't live in that world. And again, and it goes for both sides. It's not just about Turkish Cypriots, right? It's for everybody that lives on the island. It's not just Turks and Greeks, by the way, right? You know this. You have Armenians, you have Maronites, you have...
We're a Mongol race, man.
All different communities in Cyprus, okay? And everybody's been affected by this, right? So there needs to be... It can't be... we can figure out... No. There needs to be clearly established safeguards to make sure that these things it can never happen again. And I just don't see, unless you can provide me some sort of, even hypothetical, some sort of scenario, right, where these communities are protected and there can be. Don't tell me the UN because I won't trust them as
The
far as
UN
I
is
can
an
throw
outside
them.
force. This
Right.
is one of the forces
Okay,
I
so
want
you
out
want-
of the island.
out,
I want everybody out,
Okay.
especially the UN.
I just can't. For me, they're useless, right? They've done nothing.
Well, they've took our land.
Yeah,
haven't
that's
they?
that's what they've
They've what is it? 3 or 4% of Cyprus is UN controlled right now.
right in the buffer zone, right? And I say this all the time. For me, the UN are glorified news reporters. They're armed
much, yeah.
news reporters. They sit there with their weapons and they just watch everything that happens. They don't do shit. It happened in Cyprus.
Well,
it happened in Bosnia.
Yeah, they're a
wherever.
little bit more control. Because I had a friend that was actually worked for the UN. I was actually with him yesterday, and he left the UN because they're controlled. They're completely controlled by the Western powerhouses.
Well, that says everything. That makes my point for me. I don't trust them. The only naturally, as a Turkish Cypriot, who's the only entity that I can trust?
Well, yeah, Turkey's the only.
Literally the only one.
What's the word? they've shown unconditional support to Turkish Cypriots.
Right.
That's 100%. But the point is that I was making is we're in the year 2025 now. It's not 1974. It's not the 60s, you know, the 50s or whatever. We're in the year 2025 now. We have, I'd say, easily 150,000 trained soldiers who are Turkish Cypriot, and they will have unconditional love and support for the Turkish Cypriot community in Cyprus. So I think we've got answers. I think we're maybe being pessimistic.
There's pessimism, and then there's a very famous quote that says those that don't remember history are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, that's
again. So touche. So
100%.
And again, I love the way that you look at it, and if it was, that is the most ideal situation, to have the island united, right? For everybody to go back to the way it was when everybody was getting on and living side by side. But you said that we're in 2025 now, and I want you to really understand what that means. You need to look at the rise of far-right nationals in every single, I would say in most European countries and even in the US, right? The far-right are on the rise. Fascism in my eyes is on the rise. And Cyprus is an exception. You have groups in Cyprus like Elam, whatever the hell they're called, right? Who are far-right fascists.
There's a lot of extremist groups.
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
this is what I was saying.
What's to stop that ideology or that movement from spreading again? Where are the protocols in place to stamp out those sorts of groups? They're allowed to roam because you're a European and democracy, all these things which are great. But look, you're allowing these people. These sorts of people are the, excuse my language, the bastard child of the very reason for why we're in this situation in the first place.
Well, the left would argue, love will always prevail. You're right. There needs to be some, clear protocols and, set established things in place to protect the safety. But I think there's answers, man, and I think we can easily do it.
I hope you're right, and I hope that there is a solution. But if they continue down this path, we're going to be sitting here 50 years later, and we're going to be having the same conversation.
I don't know. I think we'll be having
a different
lot
one.
More different. Yeah. I mean, we've got more outside.
There's no way you can go another 51 years. No chance.
Yeah.
Especially the way that region, what's happening in that region. You just get swallowed up.
Yeah. I think it is a lot of the onus is sitting on the Greek administration. The Greek Cypriot administration, if we ever want to, reach some sort of resolution, the onus is on them, because there's been, like I said, there's been multiple attempts since the creation of Northern Cyprus to sort of reunify it, and it's always been thrown down the shitter by the Greek Cypriot administration, man. And it's not only, attempts to reunify or federalize the island. There's multiple examples I could give where, there's been good faith shown by the Turkish Cypriot community. Like we were talking a lot about loss of land. The Turkish Cypriots, they've got I don't know what to call it, agency within the government. It's called the Immovable Property...
The IPC
Commission, is it?
Yeah, the Immovable Property Commission.
Where, like Greek Cypriots who lost land, they can apply to this to get some sort
I've actually looked at
compensation. Yeah. But I mean, the Turkish Cypriots have absolutely no, equivalent they can apply to on the Greek Cypriot.
They can. I know somebody that has gone through the process of doing it. However, they make it basically impossible.
Is there an agency?
There is a way you have to apply, but I think you apply through the European courts.
Okay.
To either be compensated for your land.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, but that can be done by the Greek Cypriots. Can also do that for the same thing. But what I'm saying is the point I was trying to make is the Turkish Cypriots have shown good faith, and they've created. You don't need to go to the European human rights appeal to the courts.
One thing you need to, and again, if my memory serves me, correct me, it's actually Turkey that set up this IPC, right? And they've been paying out the money. I think up till now they've paid just over 500 million, right? If you go to the IPC, right, and go on their website, You can see year by year, month by month, every single case that's been made, every single case that's been approved, and every single case that's been rejected, right? And like you said, they have shown good faith. And I would argue that you need to, in my opinion, you need to include Turkey in that conversation of showing good faith. Turkey was actually pushing against Rauf Denktaş, which was the founding father of the Turkish Republic of North Cyprus.
KKTC.
Yeah, he was pushing. Turkey was pushing against that. They were telling him not to declare independence. That they wanted to continue with negotiations and try to come to a resolution. And he basically totally ignored them and declared independence against their wishes, against Turkey's wishes. Okay. Now, fast forward 2004, the Annan plan. Back Erdogan was pushing for this plan to go through, for this resolution to go through. Again, showing good faith. Every step of the way. There's only so many times that you can extend an olive branch and have someone slap it away, and in the end you say, you know what, fuck it. They're clearly not interested. Do you understand? And
I mean, it does seem like that at the moment.
You know, it's not nice because. And I'm not talking about Greek Cypriots, by the way. I'm talking about the Greek Cypriot administration.
Yeah, the government. Yeah, the people and the government. Everybody on my channel knows that the people and the government, they're completely two different things.
Yeah, because look, on my left, on my left, I'm not going to say where. On my left, where I'm at, neighbours Greek Cypriot. On my right, Greek Cypriot. My landlord, Greek Cypriot. Half of my customers, Greek Cypriot. When they come in the shop, we sit down, we have a great time. We don't even talk about this shit.
Yeah.
We just talk about, food most of the time anyway. Do you understand? So it's important to distinguish that the will of the people versus the will of the government or the representation of the people.
Yeah.
That's just how it is everywhere, though.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
it's literally everywhere.
It's almost like what we're even talking about, considering that we'll never make the decisions. The people will never make the decisions. There's always going to be some power hungry someone doing something.
Sometimes I get
exactly.
But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, I get really pissed off and I say, well, you fucking voted for these people. Why are you putting these lot in power?
You're always going to vote for someone, though, and it's always going to be someone.
Well,
like
that's true as well, because to ignore that reality is to just close. You're walking around.
You have to do it yourself.
What?
You have to go and get the political education,
right?
And run yourself.
I swear to God, I've said this so many times.
Because no one.
I said, you know what? You go and run, and I'll vote for you. Yeah. And then we'll go run on this side, and this is how we have to do it.
Well, I did do it.
You did do it.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah, I ran for mayor last year. That's what this channel was all about.
I ran for mayor.
But I did all right. I got 26,100 something votes. I can't remember.
Amazing, man.
Yeah, that was, it really touched me that many people supported me.
Unbelievable.
But, yeah, at the end of the day, you're fighting against the big powerhouse parties that have got their subscribed million voters that don't even think about, they don't even look at the manifesto, don't even care what they're doing. They're just right. Yeah, my uncle voted for Labour.
It's true. Yeah, and I think that happens more so in Cyprus than anywhere else. We'll do you a favour over here. You just make sure that you tick that box when the ballot comes. That's unfortunately how it is. But ultimately, there needs to be a shift. Eventually, there needs to come a point where people start taking more interest and more responsibility of the politics that happens. Because again, if you leave it to the people, you put the people in one room, they're going to come up with a solution by the end of the day.
Yeah, many would argue on my channel, so my main supporter base and people that watch this, they're political dissidents. So many would argue voting doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah. I mean, if everybody had that, I get it, because I used to say the same thing, but if you have a vote, why not use it? What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah. Have you voted before in this country? Or?
In this country, I voted once in this country. It'll be the only time I vote unless that person ever comes back and runs for Prime Minister again. And that was for Jeremy Corbyn.
So he's just started his own political party.
If he runs, I will vote for him again.
He claims he's had over 6,000 people join, so that will probably be one of the biggest amount of subscribers to a party that hasn't even been formed yet. Right. But I do like Corbyn. He's a man of morals or whatever. Extreme.
He's a man of the people.
Yeah, man of the people, 100%. And you'd say he's on the political compass, right on the left or whatever. So I'm never going to fully agree with some of his stuff or whatever. But you know what? The political compass doesn't even matter, man. It's just
To be honest with you, let's say, for example, Corbyn, you know, in this world, fantasy world, where Corbyn becomes the prime minister, and then he goes and flips and does everything opposite to what he was preaching.
Yeah.
This is when I'll become like your subscriber base, and I'll say, do you know what?
Political dissident.
Never
So
again.
your hope lies with
Your last
Corbyn.
hope.
With what? Yeah.
He's your last hope.
Yeah, because there's one leader that I've in my lifetime who I've got a lot of respect for. His name's Jose Mujica. He was the president of Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Yeah, this man is an anomaly. It's like he fell out of the sky, and he would be what I think Jeremy Corbyn would be for this country. Someone who lives by what they preach. They don't just talk; they walk the walk. Also, do you understand? And if you research, I don't want to go into it, but if you research on this man, he's incredible, absolutely incredible. And that's who I think. That's the sort of job that I think Corbyn would do for this country. I don't think he's all talk. I think that he would stick his finger up to the establishment and do whatever he thought was right. You know. But if he doesn't, and he completely, you know, buckles to the establishment and, you know, becomes another puppet and all these things, then that's when I will lose all hope. I will have this political
dissident.
Political dissonance. Dissonance?
Dissident.
Dissident. That's what I'll
Yeah.
be. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, yeah, you could say politically homeless. You know, you're just. I think most people are these days, right now. You know, they're just, or if they are voting, they're just voting because it seems like it's the best party to sort of vote for.
Yeah.
And then you've got the rise of parties right now because the main reds and blues are failing. You know, we've got Reform on the rise. They probably are going to win. You know, the next elections, I believe, anyway.
Ultimately, I think people, when it comes to voting, people vote for what suits them, what benefits them. So if you're, as a business owner, you're probably going to, not you, but anybody who owns a business, you're probably going to vote Conservative. Why? Because that benefits you, their policies benefit you as a business owner. Voting Labour, like for example, you had the rate relief.
The what?
Rate relief. Business rates.
Oh, right, yeah.
I think when
Small business rate. You have to be a certain square foot or so, yeah.
You had, I think it was 75% discount on business rates. The second Labour came into power, it went from 75% to 45%. That's a lot of money.
For small business rates?
For small business rates.
Because I'm sure there's 100% relief at the moment, isn't
No,
it?
not for me.
How big is your shop?
It's, it sounds a square foot.
Square foot, yeah, because they calculate on that, don't they?
So it's, I don't know, it's around 20 meters long.
You might be falling
5
just outside
meters,
of the small rates
Right.
relief. That's why. Because I actually have another. I've got loads of business. I've got another one down the road, and it does get 100% relief.
100%.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, like under a Conservative government, I would have received that extra 30%. Do you understand? So as a business owner, I would say, actually, wait, what benefits me? Should I go and vote for Labour, even though that's what's best for the country? Or do I vote for the Conservatives, which financially benefits me?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's this country especially. I can't remember a party, not in my lifetime anyway, that's lied so badly about their manifesto. You know, all the promises they made, they've lied about almost every single one. So that's why we're seeing so many sort of politically homeless people right now, or shifting over to Reform.
Yeah.
You know, lost confidence in the two main parties.
Right.
But yeah, this has been an amazing podcast, man. It's been fucking. What's it been? Nearly 2 hours now, so I'm very conscious of the time.
That's actually
Yeah. It's just been about 2 hours. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I am struggling a little bit to find a Greek Cypriot person to come and join us for the same conversation for part 2 of this episode.
I know someone.
So give us a shout, anybody out there.
I'm actually interested to hear what a Greek person would say, like Greek Cypriot would say. Actually.
I know someone who would be
Really?
perfect.
Well, how? Well, no, I want to hear it from the Greek Cypriot.
Yeah.
I deal with them on a daily basis.
All right, boys. If anything, you should be the next guest and you should see it and do that.
They believe they died on the 20th of July 1974.
Well, not all of them, but yeah, it is the
We can't hear you though. We're gonna have to. Can you put your mic?
This doesn't need to go on.
I know someone that I think will be perfect.
Yeah, I put me in touch
But,
with no, I tell you, like, I am speaking to several people or whatever, but yeah, it's been slightly more of a struggle to find a Greek Cypriot
So
guest on the show.
You know who I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
Sof.
No, Socks doesn't have that much in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do need someone with a big, a very extensive
But I think
knowledge.
get the Greek
the
Cypriot
reason
to come.
anyway. The reason why I think he'll be good for this podcast is he comes from a quite interesting dynamic. So he's obviously Greek Cypriot. He's one. I think his mum was his mum's family was on the left. Dad's family was on the right of the political spectrum. He's married to a Turk or Kurdish Turk. And he's run his own basically debate platforms and hosted countless sort of conversations, and he's heard it all, whatever there is to hear, right, all the way from the far right to the far left. He's heard everything, so you might be interested.
Sounds like he could be a good candidate. Yeah, put me in touch with him after. But yeah, what are you saying? Any more you want to add to this, Donny?
No, man, I've got this side. I've got the Turkish Cypriot side. It's locked in. I'm ready for the Greek Cypriot, and then we'll have you fight each other afterwards. No, Jay, we'll have you.
Part 3, yeah?
Yeah, we are definitely part 3. Definitely.
We could do that. Part 3, we'll kick you out and we'll bring the...
Yeah.
We'll
both have a mic.
We'll put a table, and just put a spotlight on top of the table.
But yeah. Şahin, is there anything else you want to add to this?
No, man. No, I think I said most of what I have to say. Like I said, I wish this will be my closing thoughts. I wish, what you want is a realistic option. I don't think it is, unfortunately. But
I agree with you. I don't think it's ever going to happen. That's what I want. Yeah.
I feel like the more people have these conversations and start to understand the other side, I think there's a higher chance that, even if the governments don't want to do it, I think amongst the people that there won't be any resentment between us, and maybe in the future that there will be some sort of reality where we can live together. But until these important issues are addressed, I don't think that the Turks will ever accept that solution. From my side, personally, look, I've got nothing against Greek Cypriots. Whatever happened in the past it should stay there. I don't think there's no point trying to harbour resentment today or grudges today. Ultimately, that person didn't do anything to me. Whoever he did it to is probably not even here anymore. And I think more people need to have this sort of attitude, understanding that we have to live our lives now. There's no point talking to me about what the Ottomans did and what they did and that one did. Like, that's, those people are stinking in their graves, that's not, they're not, what they did is not going to have any relevance or any influence on what's happening in our lives today. So, need to have more conversations. Thank you for having me and facilitating this. And I think you should facilitate more of these discussions so that, like you said, you're not trying to influence people's decisions. You're just putting it out there and people can come to their own conclusions. And these things are important. So thank you very much.
Wicked. Well, we're certainly going to be having at least another 2 episodes anyway. Greek Cypriot, and then I think we might hopefully maybe get you back with the other. Yeah.
It'll be nice.
Amazing. Right, so Şahin, 2 things we do at the end of every...
you ain't finished yet.
You're not finished just yet. We're almost there. 2 things we do at the end of every podcast is...
Don't ask me to sing, bro.
So give us your... it can be a sentence, a paragraph, however long you want it to be or whatever. So it could be words of inspiration. It could be like your motto in life. It could be your slogan. Anything you want to say... fire away. Give us your final pow.
Oh, man.
For the people.
For the peoples.
And me. And Andreas.
I'm more nervous now than I was at the start. Oh, man.
Like you heard what I sort of the words I live by. You have to be right to fight. You can't be wrong and straight. It could be something like that, or you can just make it up on the spot. It could be something stupid if you want. We've had some really stupid ones. Lee Priest. What was it? Because I am I? That one.
I don't know. You know, there's so many that I know. Which one do I go with?
Organic.
No.
Eat organic.
No. Man, like literally, there's loads running through my head right now. There's one that sticks out in my head.
Go for it.
It might not be relevant to this discussion.
Doesn't need to be relevant.
No, it doesn't have to be at all.
Okay, it goes.
We might, if it's that good, we might make it the title of this episode.
It goes. The saying is, "What use is hindsight when the insight is blind?"
I like that. I like that. Some foresight would be better though, right? Yeah.
Right.
I get that.
That's the one that's poking out in my head right now.
That's pretty good. I like that. And the final thing.
This camera's off now, by the way.
And
So don't
that
look
one
into
by
that
the
one.
look of it.
These two are both off, all right?
Did you not use the cable instead of the battery? Oh, don't you?
What?
You know we have.
So this
them
camera can't
batteries
see
that
It's not off. This one might as well be off because it's just on you, and we're not going to probably have any single shots for the last bit. This one is actually runs for 2 hours, and I'd have to press it again.
Oh, you mean the memory card, not the battery?
No. It's not the battery. It's just you just got to press the button again.
Basically, you
I can get up and press the button again if you want.
Don't
But
worry.
we don't need it. That's what I'm trying to say.
It's the final bit
My
anyway.
main point was that when you're going to say what you're going to say, just don't look into that camera.
Oh, really?
These ones, yeah.
Which one you want me to look
By
into?
the
Any
way,
of these two,
it don't matter now anyway, because we're at the very last thing, yeah? Now, I'm guessing you've probably never heard me say this, but loads of people heard me say this. My sort of slogan is I go, hey, come on. Just definitely heard me say it. But yeah, so give me your A, come on. But I'm not asking for your version. Say A, come on, basically. Do it
Like
anyway.
that?
Yeah. If you want to do it like that, do it like that. Say it any way you want.
In this camera?
No.
Which one?
That one.
That one there?
one over there. That one in the front.
Hey, come on.
Come on, yes.
That was good. That was fucking sick. That was sick.
wicked.
That was sick.
You know what? Because he's from North London, he got this.
You did it. You
That was
perfected.
definitely an Edmonton, North London.
That was a 9 out of 10.
Stand
That
up.
was definitely a 9 out of 10. Good stuff, man. Wicked, brother.
All right, good, yeah.
That was
Wicked.